Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk Tech. Today's video is going to be on motivating your learners. Again, it's me, Bree, here with Let's Talk Tech. So let's go ahead and jump into the subject. What is motivation and why is it so important? According to Shift, motivation is what people want to do, what they choose to do, and what they commit to doing. It's the why that makes people do what they want to do. It's important in learning because you definitely want your learners to be motivated to learn. You want to build them towards more of an intrinsic motivation, and we will get to what that means in a couple of slides. So, what is motivation theory? Motivation theory is the study of what drives a person to a particular goal. According to Stavrej, the motivation drives behavior, persistence, and goal achievement in learning. Again, there are two types of motivation. There's intrinsic motivation, which is the internal factors of what motivates a person to do what they want to do, whether it's personal goals, whether they want those good grades, whether they want those accolades. Extrinsic motivation could be something like a pay raise or external factors that motivate the person other than some internal drive. So with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have physiological needs at the bottom: air, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. We go up to safety needs, love and belonging, self-esteem, and then we have that top level, which is self-actualization, which that person wants to be the best that they can, which is kind of that intrinsic motivation. But you have to be able to meet those bottom needs in order to get motivation at the higher level. Herzberg's two factors, they deal with extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, where hygiene factors are kind of extrinsic motivation, and you have those internal factors, which are the intrinsic motivation. McGregor's theory Y and theory X kind of pertains more to the business and corporate workplace, but you can still apply some of those theories and ideas to your classroom as well. Theory X feels that workers have little ambitions, they're lazy, you have to micromanage them. And theory Y feels that the workers enjoy their work. They don't need minimum supervision. They don't need that micromanagement because they're going to do what they're supposed to do because they love what they're doing. So you can take kind of aspects from those and apply them to your classroom. That's why it's important to know your learners. And I do talk about that in a couple of my other videos. Knowing your learners to know what type of instructional activities to put into your lesson is going to help your learners the best. And it's going to make it easier for you because you know which things you need to incorporate to get to the objectives that you want them to get to. So, intrinsic motivation is the motivation an individual feels from within themselves, and it's dictated by emotions, aspirations, and fears. It also relates to the achievement of personal goals, again, such as building knowledge or skills of their job or learning. According to Shift, extrinsic motivation refers to the factors within the learning environment and outside of the learner. According to Stavros, extrinsic motivation is often associated with learner goals that focus on performance as a means to an end rather than learning for the learner's own sake. So, Shift talks about what you can do for motivating your learners before your course, during your course, and after your course. And this can apply the same thing to your learning environment, to your courses, whether it might differ sometimes with K through 12, but definitely you can do this with your higher education courses. So before you start your course or your class, you can have an engaging title maybe for for the course. Do some pre-work activity. This can kind of let you know where your learners are at, what their level is versus the material you plan to cover in the course. You can do a short video introducing yourself, what you like, what the course is about, maybe some things that you had trouble with. Communicate those expectations. You want to identify the goals and instill belief in your learners that they can achieve those goals with hard work, dedication, and doing what they need to do. And you also want to maybe get your learners' opinions through your pre-assessments. During your course, different activities you can incorporate as far as instructional activities, the quizzes, the game. I love interactive games. Constant feedback. I talk about that in a couple of other videos. It's very, very important to give your learners constant feedback so they can be comfortable with communicating with you, and they could be knowledgeable of what they need to work on instead of waiting to the end of the class or the end of the module and then they've done everything all wrong and you haven't told them what they did wrong and they keep making the same mistakes. You want to do visual progress, maybe meters, some type of other visual progress to let them know where they're at as far as reaching the objective. I always talk about chunking your content, definitely having modules. Don't just lay everything on at once. Have your content and your modules build upon each other. You want to balance the challenges with the learner's abilities, and this goes back to knowing your learners, what they are good at, what they aren't good at, what they're more adverse in, what they don't know so well. So you can give the material or present the material in a challenging way, but not something that's too challenging that's going to overwhelm them and decrease their motivation in learning and completing the activities to meet their objectives or your goals. Definitely want to minimize distractions. Don't have a whole bunch of extra activities that aren't purposeful to meet your objectives or extra assignments just because you want to have everything in your lesson plan or in your all your instructional activities. You want them to work the learner, guide the learner towards your objectives. Simulation, guided practice are always good, and I definitely encourage communication through discussions, through announcements, through however you want that dialogue to go. It's always good to have learners communicating because you learn about your learners through communication. Even when it's peer-to-peer communication, you still learn about what the learner thinks or maybe their viewpoint on the subject or topic. So after your course is over or after the module is over, you can always do things to still motivate your learners. You can still give them encouragement. You can give them more feedback on the course or how they did. You can give them maybe a completion certificate. Even for maybe some trainings or job aids, takeaways that they could use as they go on, maybe beyond your course for higher education, or something that they can keep to remember beyond that module. Maybe an overview of the module or overview of that subject. You can always do follow-up sessions or emails, and this may be for higher education or trainings. I don't know if you would really do that in your K through 12 unless, they get into maybe middle or high school where they're rotating classes. So again, just some references. Most of this information was for how to motivate learners before, during, and after an e-learning course, which this still could be applied to your K through 12 or higher learning. So thanks for tuning in. Again, it's me, Bree, with Let's Talk Tech. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, like the video, and stay tuned for our next video.